They think that we're so dumb that we see the lines coming out of the planes, we see these rare halos going around the sun, and then all they have to say in the newspaper is, well, we're going to use balloons, don't worry. Geoengineering gets green light from federal scientists, 2007. Chemtrails are also called solar geoengineering. It's also called solar radiation management. It's also called stratospheric aerosol injections. Okay, and what they like to do is they like to confuse us with the terminology. It's all one thing, right? It's all chemtrails, it's all geoengineering, it's all solar radiation management, stratospheric aerosol injections, whatever word you want to give it, it's all treason. They think that we're so dumb that we see the lines coming out of the planes, we see these rare halos going around the sun, and then all they have to say in the newspaper is, well, we're going to use balloons, don't worry.
The latest water test tested the rain. 13,100 micrograms per liter of aluminum in the rain in 2013. Normally, it should be 0. So 13,100 is pretty damn much, folks. It used to be 0, then it was 100s in the 2000s, and then since 2010, it's into the 1000s and the latest 13,100. In the snow on Mount Shasta, pristine Mount Shasta, 61,000 feet, no, excuse me, 8,000 foot level, 61,000 micrograms per liter. 4 times the amount that is found in the soil up there. Where in the hell is this stuff coming from if it's not coming from the soil? You know, these tests are international in scope. We're seeing this all over the world, guys. Okay, pH of acid soils is 20 times more alkaline. The aluminum in the soil has doubled in the last 10 years. Aluminum blocks essential nutrients. I am unable in my garden to restore normal pH, and that's because nanoparticles are now in the circulatory systems of both plants and humans. So welcome, fellow guinea pigs.
Interview with the Los Angeles Times on April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to
So yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans.
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans, and to control the rest.
Yes, sir, and that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, if somebody had told me that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is, it is proven and documented.
Not only that, we were told they were sprayed on us for our own good, to protect us from global warming. The thin cloud layer, formed by the heavy metal particles, reflects the sun back where it belongs, away from us.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, a method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat.
They contain mycobacteria, viruses, Pseudomonas florensis bacteria, human plasma. Wonder what human plasma is doing in chemtrails. And this is not by conjecture. I did a lot of research before I'd ever say this, but these chemtrails are nasty. And there's 3 reasons for chemtrails. The first is and I talked to my NSA buddies at Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, and Buckley, where I was actually their doctor taking care of the pilots flying and spraying the chemtrails. So I know it's real. If anybody says it's not real, they're full of it. Okay, because I'm a whistleblower. On the inside, it's not open for discussion. And my NSA buddies told me, 95% of them told me, they were up there trying to spray to reflect the sun out to stop global warming. So most of them are dumb enough to believe that garbage. Okay? And also in the chemtrails, and there's a link directly that Jeff Francis found out, and I'm going to have Dr. Staninger and Dr. Carjou on in about a week on my radio show. And I've done some investigations, and there's very solid evidence now that Morgellons is caused by a silicon-based nanomachine life form that does not originate on planet Earth. Is that not interesting? This is a silicon-based life form.
Phenomena of chemtrails. And, you know, when I was a kid, I used to see these trails in the sky all the time. And so, oh, that's cool. A jet just went over. And then you started to see a whole bunch of them. And the next thing you know, everybody in your neighborhood was fighting and arguing, and you didn't know why. Okay, and
It's a deadly rain.
It's already heading towards South America now.
But the people on the news say it's not so bad. They say it won't affect you. Then they add, in fact, a little radiation here and there is actually good for you.
Actually good for you in reduced cases.
What a crock of shit, what a bunch of liars. They don't even care how many millions will die, cause they're part of the machine, telling us to buy into it. Whatever it is that they decide will be better for the masses, best for the regime. Plague on the loose, you better get your vaccine. Better rising up to let it sleep for me. Can't you see they're killing us with their chemical sprays and aspartame, with the terminator seeds from the war machine, with the modified food we be eating all day. Can't you see it's killing us? Have you ever had toxins seeping through your pores, or heard of such a thing as a smiling forest? How come the same people that made Agent Orange are growing all cold? It doesn't make any sense until you get this. They sell the food that is making us sick, and when we get sick.
Just doing this over the summer in Beijing to make sure that there weren't any rain, that there wasn't any rain during the Olympics. But all this has changed dramatically with the U.S. military's secretive research and plans to control the planet's natural weather. This has not been given very much press, and we have to remember that we have a corporate-owned press where 85% of radio, television, and print media is owned by 5 corporations. So they're not going to talk about things that are of really serious consequence, and that's somewhat of the blessing, a mixed blessing of the internet, but there's certainly plenty of information on weather modification. The Air Force is on record as saying, quote, they want to control the weather by 2025, and we are not talking about just seeding the clouds for rain. Weather modification means, quote, any activity performed with the intention of producing artificial changes in the composition, behavior, or dynamics of the atmosphere, unquote. And as of April this year, there are more than 150 different weather modification programs around the world. Since about 2000, the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy have been spraying the entire United States sky with a toxic brew of chemicals and other biologic agents. Do we have that? Just want to show you something. We have two different kinds of trails in the sky right now. One are called contrails. How many of you know what contrails are? Contrails would have been around from the ends of planes since World War II.
One of the pinnacles of human engineering, and also a vehicle of disaster? In this edition of Doomtech, we're exploring the chemtrails conspiracy theory. Believers claim that airplanes have been used for decades to secretly spray dangerous chemicals on people. These conspiracy theorists cite as proof vapor clouds made by jets. They say that these chemtrails, short for chemical trails, last longer than normal vapor trails made by planes. Subscribers to this conspiracy theory blame governments and shadowy corporations for these projects. Conspiracy theorists claim that objectives of spraying chemicals from planes are wide-ranging. These include causing widespread illnesses so that pharma companies can reap profits, sterilization for population control, and testing of chemical and biological weapons. Other alleged objectives include damaging crops to manipulate stock markets and even modifying the weather. The ongoing heatwave in the United Kingdom has handed ammo to chemtrail believers. Claims recently emerged on social media that the heatwave was engineered to restrict public rights and freedoms in the future in the name of climate change. The origins of the chemtrails conspiracy theory are rooted in some fact, as most conspiracy theories are. One of the inspirations for the theory is the secret germ warfare tests conducted in the 1950s and 1960s by the UK, in which many areas were sprayed with airborne chemicals. 1950 also saw San Francisco in the US being sprayed with chemical agents to see effects of a possible bioweapon attack. Another source of the chemtrails theory is the US Air Force's 1996 paper, in which weather modification is suggested as a future weapon. Another fact cited by conspiracy theorists in a 1991 patent application on injecting particles into the Earth's upper atmosphere to reflect some sunlight to reduce global warming. The theory has received another boost in recent times with the discovery of a new class of chemical compounds in the atmosphere. When scientists detected hydrotrioxides and said they might possibly lead to respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, conspiracy theorists had another weapon. Reacting to the fresh surge in conspiracy claims, scientists have said the research so far has not highlighted any link to airplane discharges. Chemtrail believers also share videos like these as proof of the conspiracy. Fact-checkers claim that such videos are old recordings of military planes creating smoke screens to hide ships from enemies. Chemtrail claimers also share such photos of pilots wearing badges exposing the disastrous project.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest.
Now, the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you! It's raining! That's